Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got another combo that we've never tested before. It's been quite some time since I brought these particular shells out. We've started testing them here recently some more again with the same kind of middle of the road, kind of mediocre results that we've tended to get from these shells over the years, but I have not tested any of these particular variant of them in quite some time on the channel. So now we've got a bunch more setups, a bunch more chokes we can run them through, so we'll see how they can do through some other combinations anyway. Before the shells we've got today, I brought out some more of the Federal Grand Slam loads. These ones are the 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of lead 5s at about 1200 feet per second. And they do have the Flight Control Flex Wad in them as well, with copper plating and buffering. Like I said, we have tested some of these shells before in this particular variation a long while back on the channel, and we've started testing these in other variations as well here recently. They're not known to be anything overly impressive, at least definitely not from my experience. Some people swear by them, but I have yet to get an actual legit condensed impressive turkey pattern from them. They're always good enough, but there's still other shells out there in the same price range on the same exact store shelf that are going to outshoot these most of the time. So we'll see what these can do. We've got a decent choke to start with, and of course we can move up and down a constriction into different choke styles and stuff from here. But we'll see what we can get for a start again with these Grand Slam 5s. Before the setup we're running them in, I brought out my Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and we're going to be starting out with this choke. This is an old Trulock 665 constriction. From my best guess and talking to some other people, this is probably from the late 90s era or so. It's got no porting, no rifling, no steps or nothing like that inside of there. And the packaging when I got it was very old school. So this is a pretty early on Trulock. But for being a simple basic 665, it's been an absolute hammer of a choke, and that might work out in our favor here with these Flight Control Flex Wads, which I'm already not a huge fan of. There's nothing in the choke to get in the way or snag it up or anything like that, so we'll see what we get here, and we can move chokes from that point. Before today's test, we're running everything the same as usual. I've got the turkey target set up at 40 yards and the chrono to get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see what the Grand Slam 5s can do when we run them through an old school Trulock 665. Okay, that show gave us 1204 through the chrono. We have a boss claim of 1200, so we're right on the money with what we should be seeing there, almost exactly. So looking good here, but how well did they actually pattern down there at 40 for us? Let's go check it out and see. All right, here we are down at our 40-yard paper, and it's kind of about what I expected to see, really. Might have favored just a hair low out of that particular combination, but it is still technically a dead bird. Obviously, you would have had a bunch in your meat and down through the body there, unfortunately, but we do have a couple in the spine there that would have done the job for sure. However, you can see not really the best, most amazing turkey pattern out there, that's for sure. We kind of sort of have a condensed circular area of spread. You can kind of follow the edge of the pattern down over the top and down to the left there. It's sort of circular, but it's not overly condensed. I definitely think what's down here towards the bottom corner of that turkey target is a little hotter than what's up here towards the top portion of it. Seems like the top half of the pattern is thinner than what we have at the bottom half as well. Might have a couple flyers way up there in the top right corner, but everything else is just kind of a broad swath of shot across the paper. Again, kind of like I suspected, perfectly adequate turkey pattern. It would do the job, but it's not what I'm looking for personally. Don't have to be a tight pattern for me, but I want to see it a little bit more condensed than that, and at least a little more even than that as well. It's not terribly uneven, but you can see a few thin spots, especially towards that top and the left half of that pattern. So yet again, these Grand Slam shells seem to be pretty mediocre overall. They're not bad, but they're not fantastic either. I would much rather just go buy a box of Longbeard XR shells and call it a day. Even with the price point of these shells, I think these are about 15 bucks for a box of 10. You can go spend 11 or 12 bucks for a box of 10 Winchester Super X shells and get better patterns than what we see right here from those. So these are still right in that middle tier where they're just good enough to do the job, but not good enough to be enticing to buy them, at least in my opinion. Obviously, this is one choke now, since we've started testing these again. I do have 4s, 5s, and 6s in those shells we can run as well. Maybe a different variant of them is going to be better than what these are. This is not a bad pattern by any means. It's just not a great pattern either. So let's pull that turkey target down. We'll circle and count some pellets, and we'll see just how good it is, because it could always be a little bit deceiving having that turkey paper up there. All right, so now we've got our turkey target down and out of our way, and yeah, this is about what I thought it would look like overall. We have a 10 and 20 inch circle drawn there. You can definitely see how the top half of the pattern is a little thinner than the bottom half of the pattern is, although it does look a little bit more evenly spread than what it kind of initially did with that turkey target there. Within our 10 inch core area though, we have 61 pellets. It is a good enough core to do the job to 40 yards, but it is not anything I would call overly impressive. Even something like a Winchester Super X shell usually gives us up closer to the 100 pellet mark in there. So it's okay, but it's nothing special to write home about. Within our 20 inch leeway ring, we pick up an additional 122 pellets. The bottom right corner of it is definitely a little hotter than the top and the left edge of it over there. So maybe not the most evenly spread throughout the entire pattern, but we also have a number of them all down there along the bottom and just scattered all around the edges as well. If you like more broad turkey patterns, then that is a perfectly fine one for you. There's nothing wrong with turkey hunting with that pattern necessarily. It is capable of doing the job just fine, but it is not anything I would call impressive. I would much rather just use a Super X load personally anyway. So coming back into these particular Grand Slam 5s, we kind of pick up right where we left off. They're okay, they're adequate, but I wouldn't go out of my way to find any and try and run those. Maybe we can find a little better combination for these shells to dial them in, but this is still a hard pattern to judge. We have a flight control wad, which can be finicky with different choke constrictions. The flight control flex wad is not my favorite anyway to start with, and with these being a lead 5 in a flight control wad, we can get to a point where we over constrict them, and this pattern doesn't look like we over constricted anything. It looks like we need more constriction, but that may not work out well with how the shell is loaded. So kind of a give and take. We got to do more testing and see what we get, but pretty middle of the road, mediocre result here to start with. It's good enough, but not great at the same time either. And here is that flight control flex wad from that shell. Looks perfectly fine overall. The flex wads have the slots cut in the side versus the big square flaps like the standard flight control wads do. I much prefer a standard one over these flex wads. These tend to do some pretty weird and inconsistent things. Overall though, this one looks very much normal. No major damage or anything I'm concerned with. Just not a super overly impressive performance from the entire unit today. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that result right there? I think we pretty well covered it. It's fine, but it's not great at the same time. I don't think these shells will ever be down in Longbeard XR territory. They might compete with something like a Super X shell, but that's probably going to be about the cap. I've tested these before. I know what they tend to give us, and that's right on the same par as what they were 3 or 4 years ago when I was testing them. So nothing has really changed here, it doesn't seem. Obviously, this is one test with one choke. Maybe we can find another magical combination that'll make them perform, but I highly doubt it. I think that's probably going to be about what we see typically from them. Now, to be fair, we have not tested the 4s or 6s in those Grand Slam shells yet. I do have both of those options, so maybe one of those might be one of those killer performers. I still have reservations for that as well, but we never know what's going to happen until we actually try it. So who knows what we're going to get when we get to those. But as far as these go, I think the Trulock 665 did about as good as what it could have done with these. They're just not an overly impressive shell on their own. So take that for what you will. If that's a pattern you like, fantastic. Then it would absolutely kill birds out to 40 yards. But for me, and probably for a lot of other people, they're going to want something a little bit more condensed down than what that gives us. So leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Grand Slam loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern or combo you would hunt with? Or are you like me and would like to see it a little more condensed down and brought in than what that gave us? And what other combos do you want to see us run those Grand Slam loads through, including the 4s and 6s as well? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.